Hey, welcome back to Zero Sum Studio. For any of you that's been tuned in while I've been having some technical difficulties and some just general incompetence, my apologies. And if you stuck with me, then God bless you. I got no idea why. So, again, I'm Zero from Zero Sum Studio. I wanted to take a quick look today at the character creation in Distemper, our upcoming post-apocalyptic tabletop role-playing game. There's 3 different methods of generating characters in Distemper. Number 1 is to pick a pre-generated character, which is fully formed, ready to go straight out of the box, right? Everything you need to get playing. The second method is to pick a paradigm, one of 16 kind of like tropes or stereotypes, not exactly classes, just more kind of a thematic grouping of skills or kind of like whatever. But it really kind of fills a role, right? Like a biker or a beat cop or like an EMT or something like that, right? That's kind of the second method. The method that gives you the most control is backstory generation, right? And that's kind of what I'm going to look at now. So backstory generation is a life pathing system where you run through the evolution of your character, and at every step along the way, you kind of get to build the character that you want to play, right? So you get to add points, you get to do all these kind of bits and pieces that really help, right? I mean, these kind of things that allow you to really, when I say help, the things that allow you to have the most control possible over your character. So I'm going to open up the quick start and just take a quick look and kind of guide you through it. This is very slow to open. So this is kind of the naked version with very little formatting. But, there's an overview of the character sheet. This is available for download, by the way. If you go to distemperverse.com/quick start, you can just grab this. And as you can see, there's a quick overview of the character sheet, kind of running you through it, what you need to understand, kind of walks you through the various steps. There's a checkpoint or a checklist rather that kind of takes you through what it is that you have to do. And this just kind of walks you through it, right? And, I'm going to take you through in a second, but the steps are all here to kind of move through this. And then, again, if you go to the website Distemperverse, go to Tools and Resources. Under here, there's a character generator, right? So there's an online character generator, which you can see here. But there's a few different bits and pieces, and I'll explain these later. There's a few things that don't work quite properly, and I'm not exactly sure what it is that broke. Although it may be working now, I may have gotten this working, so I'll come back to this. But I would argue you're better off just downloading the Excel spreadsheet if you're okay with trusting some random stranger on the internet. So again, life pathing itself is pretty simple, right? So you start with the names and details. So one of the pre-gens in the game was Pesky LaRue. Pesky is, I think he's 32. His height is a drop down, and there's a reason for this when we're concatenating this data to upload it up to Roll20. We needed to be very specific in some ways. So 162 pounds. He is male. One of the steps you go through is you're defining the character concept in these early steps. Is choose 3 words that describe who you are. So Pesky's going to be he is a petty criminal, right? So he's sneaky. He's shrewd, and he's sly. That's really who Pesky is. So, in terms of a brief description of who your character is, Pesky grew up on the streets of Chicago. He's been a petty criminal most of his life. Not really much to recommend him, as they say. And part of the idea of life pathing is that you fill out these blocks and you just write a couple of sentences that help you define who the character is. So, grew up in Chicago. No surviving family. So next step would be to go, again, personal growth, right? Which is, like I mentioned, there's 7 steps that you go through. Step 0 is who are they, right? The concept. And then you go to personal growth, right? So you're going to ask yourself 3 questions. Where did your character grow up? What did they learn? What did they like to do? So as you go through this spreadsheet will really walk you through it, but you get to choose from the 5 what are called rapid range acronyms, or attributes rather, from the acronym, which is reason, acumen, physicality, influence, and dexterity. So Pesky's going to pick acumen, is kind of midway between kind of gut instinct and perception. So, and it just goes through and you pick different skills that they have or that they've learned along the way. And then the second question would be, so what did they learn, right? So you pick another one, in this case, another attribute. So I'm going to say is dexterity. Pesky grew up on the streets, so I'm going to pick sleight of hand, and I'm going to pick stealth. These are the things, this is what he learned. And then what did he like to do? So in this, I'm going to pick influence, right? And he was a charming guy with the ladies down at the pool hall, but that led him into trouble, so he'd end up using a pool call to defend himself. So I'm going to give him a level in melee combat. And then, it doesn't really matter, give him another level in athletics and give him a level in deception. He's a sneaky guy, right? So, what was during this phase, right? I mean, the idea is that you write 3 sentences, right? Or a couple of sentences, maybe 5, 6, 7 sentences. But that really summarize where they grew up, what did they learn, and what did they like to do. So Pesky was a born criminal. He liked the rush of adrenaline. And, oh my God, my spelling. And finally fell in with a group of pickpockets and petty criminals. So the last step here is the professional growth, right? So Pesky, I've already decided, is going to be an outlaw, which is a petty criminal. So as you can see, when you pick one of these, and this is what isn't working correctly if you go online, excuse me, you pick one of these and there's a series of skills that are really just suggestions, right? I mean, none of this is, again, these aren't classes, this isn't hard and fast, these are just thematic, right? So you get to pick final 2 attributes. So he liked to fight a little bit, and he was good with his hands, or had light fingers, sticky fingers. So, and again, I'm just going to go through and randomly pick a couple of different skills to finalize this out, but there are 37 skills in total. And as I'm kind of like building these, you're probably not watching, but some of these over there, this is the secondary stats, and these are the skills. These will be changing. So if you look at initiative, I'm going to take another level in perception, which means that number, if you look over, keep your eye on initiative, that now goes up to 5. And similarly, when it comes to defensive modifiers, if you pick something like dodge, that's going to give you additional levels. So write another couple of sentences. Pesky was a bad boy. I'm going to leave it there for now. And then, the next step as you go through the guide would be once you've done once you've given out or chosen and spent all of your character development points and got the skills and attributes where you want them to be, you then go through and figure out your secondary stats. Beautifully, this spreadsheet does it all for you, right? So it goes along and it makes note of different things, and all you have to do is really fill in this part here, and it will populate all of your secondary skills. You then go down to here, you'd pick a couple of complications, or rather a complication. So in Pesky's case, it's a criminal past. You'd pick a motivation. Both of these are really just role-playing, right? I mean, this is really, Pesky's just going to take advantage. So these are things that just help you round your character out, right? So again, backstory generation process. Between the 3 words you pick, between the couple of sentences that you write as you go through the different stages, and then as you get to the complication and motivation, by the time you've gone through here, you really do have an understanding, or should have an understanding, of who your character is. So from here, you can also include, there's sections in here for equipment. Oh, excuse me, my spreadsheet a little bit twitchy. You can pick different equipment, it'll populate for you. But this really does allow you, the spreadsheet, just to create your own character for Distemper. So any questions, shoot me an email at zerosumstudio@gmail.com, or follow me on Twitter, zerosumgames, all with an X rather than the Z. And that's it. Let me know what you think of the character creation system or the backstory generation. If you run into any problems, if the spreadsheet doesn't work, if you've got any questions or suggestions, please pass them on. I'd love to hear them. Thank you for tuning in. And again, anyone that was here at the beginning, my apologies for all of that. The technical difficulties. Thank you. Good night.